And now for something completely different. What I'm about to share with you represents 2-3 years of really hard work, and it's my invention. It's very unique and original, like a lot of the astrology I do, the gambling, the leave the house, the sky mirror. Anyway, this is about the Age of Aquarius, and I went looking to see when I thought the Age of Aquarius might start. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, so this is all about Uranus. So I wound up looking. I had already discovered that what makes a planet act up and give vibes to humanity and saturate our consciousness is when the planet stations and when full moons and new moons accent that planet. It looms large in the world for a while. So I knew how to spot when this planet Uranus, becomes a big deal. What I didn't expect was there's two sides to this, a positive and a negative. And I got two graphs. And one graph has to do with isolationism. Throw out anybody who's not like us. We're kind of having some of that now. The other side is brotherhood. It's the two sides of Uranus. In la catch, brotherhood, the Age of Aquarius, or isolationism. Put a fence around it. So here's the data. Okay, here's the original graph of the work that I did on this, which startled me a lot once I saw it. There's a red curve here. This represents times when the sun was opposing Uranus. Okay? The sun opposing Uranus is the lunations that say, we don't like Uranus, the heck with Uranus, we don't want brotherhood, we don't want in la catch, we don't even like science, we don't like Uranus, or astrology. Now, on the bottom here are years. Here's 1908, 1916, 1924, 1936, 1940, about when I was born, 48. So this is a pretty broad scale. Here's 50 years. Now the blue line here represents the opposite. It's when the sun is with Uranus, and it encourages unity and brotherhood and a feeling of getting together no matter what people are like. So that's in Lak'ech, the blue line. Now if you start back here at 1900, what you find is the blue line is, oh, by the way, the stronger it is, these are degrees, these are minutes of longitude from the lunation. Well, that's where Uranus was, how far from the lunation, which means how strong it was. So the strongest Uranus hits are when it's within 1 degree, closer to this axis. I've got it shaded in. This is a power zone when stuff really happens. So, starting at 1900, we have the blue line in the power zone. And amazing things happened about then. I learned there was Social Security and workers' compensation and the formation and tolerance of unions. Okay, and a lot of socialist, communist kind of stuff of that flavor. Everybody gets together in brotherhood was going on. Now, this lasted from 1900, because you can see it just coming down here a little bit. There we go. Okay, 1900. So it's just coming down here, see? And here's the first hit, 1901. Pops up a little bit, comes down here again, 1906, 7, 8, really strong. And then slowly it ebbs away and it goes off. And the more it goes this way, the weaker it is. Now, here comes the red curve. This says, we don't like science, we don't like any of this stuff. We don't like Uranus. And isolationism comes in. And you can see the curve is very weak. I mean, the best time is when the brotherhood is very strong and the isolationism is very weak. So that was one of the best of times, and I almost thought that was the start of the Aquarian Age. I was looking for the times when the most brotherhood was the strongest, and I was going to pick that for the beginning of the Aquarian Age. That's how I got into this. So, now here is interesting time. The two cross, and here we have brotherhood and isolationism about equal. When was that? About 1920, someplace around there. And then the isolationism gets stronger and stronger as it moves down into the strong zone, see? And here you are now moving into the great crash, 1929. And here is, worldwide depression. And everybody says, I got to take care of my own and put up the fence and don't let immigrants in. And yes, so this went for quite a while. You can see it's in this power zone. They had the power zone for good Uranus from 1900 to 1914 or something. And here we have the power zone for the bad, the isolationism. And it goes from 1924 to 1933 or something. Well, when they cross down here, that was a difficult time. Now, what happens as you go further into this? These aren't sine wave curves. They misbehave. This is Uranus. And what got weird here is the isolation went off and got weak. And see how high it goes here? And also the brotherhood went off and got weak. But then the brotherhood comes down and gets real strong. When's that? That's 1953 and 1954 and 1955. There it is. A little short period of brotherhood and science and common sense, and Uranus is really... Now this is a great time because when you look at the isolation thing, it's on the opposite. It's way weakened. It's very weak. Then what happens in history gets really strange. Isolationism comes down and gets very strong. You see what's happened here? This is isolationism. That's 1963, 64, 65. And that was what? Richard Nixon and the House Un-American Activities and the beginning of the drug war and intolerance in general and isolationism. But it didn't last too long. It zipped right back up there and got weakened. At the same time, brotherhood curve, the unity guy, the blue curve comes down, and look at that. Comes in there right next to the isolationism. Now, this is an amazing time in history because here's Nixon in the drug war. Here's Woodstock. Here's 1969. Wow. Brotherhood came in all of a sudden. These are short bursts of isolationism, 3-4 years, and then brotherhood, 3-4 years. Off we go into history, okay? Next thing you know, I'm looking at the curve up ahead into the time I was doing this in the late 90s. And son of a gun, what I saw was the brotherhood curve comes down and makes a deep bowl. Well, that looks pretty much like what happened over here. Yeah, it's a repeat. And the isolation thing went off, and the brotherhood came in real strong here. What's this, United Nations? I don't know what. 1988, goes up to 1999 or so. We had a pretty good run at it. History follows these things, my friends. Okay, here I got an addition to the graph. And so I lined up 1988, and here's the blue line. And you can see I colored it green here, but it goes off, and it gets real weak. Here's the red curve. And the red curve, which is coming down, comes down here and gets stronger than the brotherhood. Isolationism, and look at what's happening as you move up to our time. Now this is an 84-year cycle and repeats, and so we're having a repeat. And here's isolationism, which peaks out pretty strong. It doesn't go all the way into the zone, Yes, it is. Here's peak starts about 2013 here, and it's in the zone during this period, and it goes to 20, 22, 23, 24. So we've got a heavy-duty period here that's not going to be a lot of fun, and because the brotherhood curve is off, and we're in it. You can see we're sitting right here, you know, and that's why you see fences going up and Trump elected, and there's nobody likes science. There's all this backlash against Uranus right now, and we've been stuck with it for a while you go through this period. Yeah. Now this period here is the same as this period here. So, you know, we were back in 1925 to 1935. 1925 to 1935, here we are again, doing the same isolation trip. Okay? Because it repeats every 84 years. Now, this isolationism, yeah, I got some odd notes here. I was worried about an asteroid hit, and there I penciled that in. Still am. That's a big one. Won't talk about it now. But when I saw what I got, and how this big hat, when you work in the lunations, and the distance from the lunation, and the strength of it, you get these amazing curves. Now, every one of these points on this graph had to be hand calculated. I did not have computer help to do this, so it took a long time. And you can see the way it comes out. Okay, now let's change consciousness a little bit. What are these things? Well, I tried Neptune, and Neptune just all over. There's no discernible pattern when you mix in the lunations on Neptune. So I tried Pluto, and look what I got. Pluto gets really strong in these spikes. Here's one. Here's another spike. This spike peaked out in 1988, really 87 to 89. Panicky, nuclear, power trips, underground stuff. Here's another peak of it, panicky. You know, this is 2000, 1999 to 2002 or 3, goes all the way up to 2000. Anyway, here's another one. Another spike in plutonian stuff. It runs from 2011, 2012. Wow. So you could go back and find stuff here and correlate these things with history, and you'll be shocked at what you see. Up ahead, well, here's another spike in the Pluto thing. Comes down 2026 and 2027. And so we're going to, and we don't have Brotherhood coming in for a while. Brotherhood has gone off and got weak, doesn't come back until 2038. So doesn't that explain a little bit of why the world's this way to you? Sure does to me. Age of Aquarius, well, I got poetic. I said, touching man's soul, like a dragonfly coming down and touching the water again and again and again. The good Uranus curve, the blue curve, comes down and gets strong. And then from 1988 to now, a lights to finish. Celebrate February 6th, 1997, Age of Aquarius.